Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and we're going to be talking about another one of the Mikey Sutton scoops. He gave me one the other day. No way of knowing if it's going to happen just yet, but I'm very curious to know whether or not this particular story development concerning Spider-Man, whatever it's going to be called, the third one, homeless, hunted, who knows what they're going to call it, but he is a scoop today that concerns the plot of the film, and it's pretty interesting. So this is his post here on Facebook just an hour ago, talking a bit about the dispute between Sony and Disney being resolved, and the focus on the movie. Right now, they are currently scripting it, but this is really what it boils down to. It says the plan, it seems, is to have the movie be about a tale of identities: the hero whose identity is revealed and the hero who steals identities. Marvel Studios sees this as the darkest of the three films, with a slightly more grown-up Peter Parker, who has experienced so much already and is about to go through a harrowing personal journey at home. Most likely, the Chameleon will be pretending to be Peter Parker and or Spider-Man, causing much havoc. And I think that's really what a lot of this boils down to. I think that when it comes to the idea of Spider-Man 3, they're going to want to kind of make it really feel like Peter's being, put through the ringer. And he already kind of has been, especially if you watch Far From Home and you look at it from an emotional resonance perspective. But in regards to what we as the audience are going to see, this is now people know who he is. He has enemies. And one of those enemies could potentially be the Chameleon. So he goes on to say here that whether the Chameleon will be affiliated with Dimitri from Far From Home remains to be seen. But I believe that was simply a misdirection or a coincidence. That would be one of the guys working with Nick Fury, which tells me that they're a Skrull, and a Skrull could be a Chameleon. So, I mean, perhaps that's this whole thing here. But it's who knows, maybe not. But he goes on to talk about here about, will it just be the Chameleon, the Lords of the Long Box for part 2 of the news, and they kind of go through what the next third act of the story might be, or what the potential other half of the story might be. And I wanted to showcase that because I do feel that it's interesting, nonetheless, to see whether or not Sony and Marvel are going to go this particular direction. And a lot of people are probably thinking yay, and some are probably thinking nay, but we'll have to wait to see. Here's what they have to say.
But will it just be the Chameleon? The Chameleon's half brother is Kraven the Hunter, a classic bad guy Sony's been longing to place in a live action film. There's been talks of a Kraven solo film. Marvel's been talking about doing the Kraven's Last Hunt. Now we hearing that they may include both. We don't know. It's still early, but so far we know that they want to use Chameleon. Maybe Kraven's coming over. I'd also like to take this time to debunk some stories that have already been out there, mainly from Grace Randolph. But we're also hearing, now this may be a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm hearing they're talking about having an extra sizzle at the end of Spider-Man 3 in the post-credit scene. Peter Parker's going to swing by Avengers Tower, and guess what he's going to see? He's going to see the freaking Baxter Building. That's right, boys and girls. The Baxter Building. Were you expecting Norman Osborn Tower, as Grace Randolph said about a year ago when she said she saw an early cut of Far From Home and there was a Baxter Building there and they were going to be bringing Norman Osborn in with Dark Avengers and all this other stuff? No. Marvel Studios is going to give Avengers Tower to a Sony IP. I said that months ago. This is what Mikey Sutton says. So this is going all the way back there, that they want to introduce now back in the comics. Human Torch and Peter Parker are really good friends. This goes back to, I think Mikey Sutton broke this on Pete's Basement. It was talking about Marvel wants to do a series of Marvel team up films, being Marvel team up with Deadpool, Marvel team up with the Human Torch. So watch out for that Marvel team up #1, boys and girls. So there you have it.
So there we go. So potentially, allegedly, supposedly, optimistically, if I'm being fair here, what they're talking about doing is bringing in the Chameleon and Kraven the Hunter for Spider-Man 3, whatever it's going to be called. The Chameleon, it does seem like a good idea. It does seem like it could be a fair reality. Kraven, I think, deserves his own film, although I do understand the idea of wanting to introduce him into the series potentially this way, further trying to solidify the Sinister Six. We know that's something that Sony wants to do. We know that they've been really aching to do it for 5 years. I mean, Drew Goddard has a script somewhere that is probably like, you want to go dust that off there, buddy? considering he's not doing X-Force anymore. So there's a lot that's going to happen with this potentially. And I do think that it's going to be very fascinating to see where things go if they bring out Chameleon, if they bring out Kraven, and if they do turn Avengers Tower into the Baxter Building. Again, I have no idea if that's the case. I have no idea if that's realistically what's going to be happening, but it does seem to make the most amount of sense. Now, personally, I would love it to, I kind of thought at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, it would have been seen as the Baxter Building, given the fact that the deal with 20th Century Fox had already gone through by that point. They would have given us a tease for the end of Phase 3. They didn't, and that's okay. There was that one little thing of like, it looked like a number 4 and like, oh, what's coming next? And people were like, Fantastic Four, Phase 4, a lot of things. A lot of interesting things there. So with any luck, we'll find out more as time goes on, but this movie is still a little less than 2 years away. They're in the scripting process right now, and it will be very interesting to see what scoops come for Mikey, what he's going to be bringing us, and of course, what we'll all be talking about as we get closer to its release in July 16th, 2021. And I just watched Spider-Man Far From Home as well as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse again the other day because I was super jazzed that he was returning, and I just can't wait to see what they do with it next. I'm so happy that he's back in the MCU. I'm so happy that things have kind of corrected course, and I look forward to whatever comes next, because whatever it is going to be absolutely positively wild. But I look forward to your thoughts and your opinions on this. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys have to say about it. If you guys are for it, if you're against it, if you made it this far in the video, do me a solid, hit that like. Let's try to get to 200 likes and hit Right Chameleon in the chat. Really appreciate that. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.